And if you have a transactional mentality and you only show up when you need something from them, are you a person worth being around?
You're not a friend.
No, you're not a friend.
You're using them.
And so many companies have such a great inside culture, and they have such a great feeling and thoughts about their product, and then they forget at this moment that a lead is just a person with a need. Welcome to the Maven Marketing Podcast. It is Maven Monday, and I am your host, Brandon Welch, and I'm here with my co-host,
Caleb Agee.
This is the place where we answer your real-life marketing questions so you can eliminate waste in advertising, grow your business, and achieve the big dream. The big dream.
Yeah.
Every Monday, we're going to come here with a new episode where we're taking your real-life questions on marketing and advertising and business.
Yeah. And we've got two really strong questions today, and we just love doing this. Can we
We're
just
having
say
a blast.
This is fun. And we get to answer questions like this all the time in our conference room, but we get to do it here with you and help more of you as we hear them. So Randy is a business coach. He's a good friend of ours. He's asking, where do most businesses fail when marketing? So a little bit of a sad trumpet sound there.
Trombone. Why do we got to go to the failure? So we're going to position this as a cautionary tale. This is not to make anybody feel bad. The truth is everybody could be a little better at anything.
Sure.
And so hopefully you take something away from this, and I'm going to answer it with 3 bullet points, and then we'll dive into each of those bullet points. Just off my own experience, and especially having grown up in a small business and having consulted well over 1,000 businesses on growth right now at this point in my career, I would boil it down to the number one failure is the desire for instant gratification. That is, I'm using actually Roy Williams' words there. He says the desire for instant gratification. I completely agree. And that's really not always the business owner's fault. It's very often how the ad has been sold or the lack of understanding about how human beings interact with advertising. But this is desire for instant gratification. Put $1 in, I need a customer out. And that is not a bad thing. That can happen.
Yeah.
But it's just understanding how and why and when that happens.
Yeah.
Second is putting media before message. So we get excited about some sort of advertising platform. We want to get our name out there.
Yeah.
And then talking about yourself instead of the customer. We're going to dive into each one of these, but instant gratification, putting media before message, and talking about yourself instead of your customer. 3 biggest ways marketers of all kinds fail.
Yeah.
So instant gratification.
Goodness. Seems like it's a bigger thought than business itself.
Caleb always takes this back to life and wisdom, and tell us about that.
I can't help it.
Are we in a world of instant gratification?
Oh yeah. Hold on, let me check my phone and see if let me Google
check
that.
My phone.
Let me Google that real quick.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know.
I want to lose 20 pounds tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yeah. We don't want to wait for results. We always are looking for the get rich quick scheme, the
crypto, anybody?
The stock that's going to climb next week, the
insider stock trading secret.
Yeah, the fat cutting diet that's just going to, a crash diet that's going to make me lose 400 pounds in a week.
They don't work.
And by the way, anything that happens that fast is probably not healthy. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We're off track.
Super philosophical.
Bring it back to Mark.
Philosophical for just a moment.
Yeah.
Think about this. The only things in nature that grow faster than they should are called cancer cells. They grow without the right kind of nutrition. They take over, and they are not healthy tissue. So way deep on you folks there. And you can tell what we're trying to say is great marketing and great results and great growth is worth waiting for. And it's worth building the right way.
It's about patience.
The in-betweens, the in-between wins, just like your stock portfolio was probably up a lot this time last year, and it's probably up not a lot right now, if not down.
Yeah.
Those are going to be temporary, and we want to celebrate those, and we want to learn from them. We want to try to maximize the wins and how often they happen. But we're not talking about marketing. Like, marketing is not a thing. Marketing is really just a means of communicating with human beings. And so with this instant gratification, what we tend to see is like hunger for people who just are ready to show up and pay money. And if there's certain parts in a product's lifestyle, or there's certain seasons where products are going to have that. Like, it's going to be really hard to find an umbrella on a rainy day,
Yeah.
right, at Disney World.
Yep.
And so, but how many umbrellas are selling, in the month of July where it doesn't rain at Disney World? Or maybe it does. But, so there's a time and a place where your product's going to naturally surge and you want to be the most obvious option. But the in-betweens are commitment, just like you would commit to any other human being. You have friends, you have a spouse maybe, you have kids, you have people at work. And if you have a transactional mentality and you only show up when you need something from them, are you a person worth being around?
You're not a friend.
No, you're not a friend.
You're using them.
And so many companies have such a great inside culture. They have such a great feeling and thoughts about their product. And then they forget at this moment that a lead is just a person with a need.
Mm-hmm.
Say it with me.
A lead is a person with a need.
A lead is a person with a need. And so what are we talking about practically? We're talking about, if it's media selection, we're talking about only trying to target and find people who are buying right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a percentage of people, but there's a far, 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 far larger group of people who aren't buying today for any reason. You could not sell me a new washing machine today because my washing machine's not broke.
Working just fine. Right.
But if you are committed, if you're the appliance store that talks about here today, here tomorrow, we're here to make your life better. We commit to our community and we talk about, all the things you could be doing in your home to make your life better.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing that consistently in my life. And suddenly my washing machine breaks. I wake up and I go, oh, that's the washing machine company I'm going to go to, right? That's the appliance store I'm going to go to.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really great example of that in town. So have the patience, and when you set off into a marketing goal, understand that you're going to have wins today, but the wins you're going to have are far better and bigger tomorrow if you just commit.
Yeah.
That kind of leads to the second point, which is putting media before message.
Mm.
And what happens here is that very often a business owner or even a marketing team thinks the most about marketing when something is being sold to them.
Yeah, when somebody's asking about
it. A salesperson comes up and has a shiny object. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that shiny object is a billboard or a fancy new social media, or there's we should answer this question because we got asked it last week. Geofencing.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Woo, geofencing.
Geofencing.
If you sell geofencing, you might not want to listen to what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's just these shiny objects in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go, ooh, we're missing the boat because we're not doing this certain type of media. And again, we've lost sight of the human being. Your goal should be not what media can I use to get business. It
Mm-hmm.
should be, how can I best connect with the people that I want to serve, who need me, whose life I can make better.
Yeah.
And what is the most efficient way to do that?
And I think that I'm going to back up one step because we always talk about our order of operations. Sounds like a math thing, but our order of operations is strategy first. So it's what are you trying to do? What are you trying to make happen? We would call that the business objective.
Business objective.
So,
and then also, who are you? What's the impact you want to make on the world?
Yeah. So I have a special product. We bring marketing that has a business-minded flair, if you're talking about Frank and Maven. So you want to think of that business objective first, and then you would go to the message, and then you go to the media. But most people flip that upside down, right? And they say, I want to be on TV. And then they say,
now what's my commercial going to say?
What should we make it say?
Yeah,
and then in 6 months, they say, we've been writing all these checks. What was that supposed to do for us?
Yes. It's all backwards.
Yeah. And you got to flip it over.
I just went all Rogersville on people there. I am from the country, and I'm not afraid to say it. So what happens there? It's just what Caleb said. Start with the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
And hint: if you are an advertising consultant or a salesperson, your job is going to be much, much, much easier if you start with people who have a holistic view of the world. I'm thinking of so many of our clients right now, but they don't get up to sell XYZ. They get up because they're trying to make a dadgum difference, and they'll die trying to do that.
Yep.
If sometimes it's on a pain or a lack of quality that their category is delivering, so they want to be the more honest, fair, easygoing person. Sometimes they're literally trying to save people from bad life situations by planning ahead, by being their financial planner or being their legal planner. Sometimes it's people that believe in the sanctity of family and outdoors and being connected with nature. And so they have a it doesn't really matter what product they sell. That's why they're doing it. And so start there. I feel really sorry for businesses that don't have that because missing an opportunity, it makes your work really a job instead of a mission. And that is super holistic, and I'm going real fluffy on you, but
that extrapolates in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. But
how do you keep good people? How do you have a heart inside of your company? Oh man, that gets real bad.
I am convinced we are a business just like any other business owner. We have challenges just like anybody else, but the challenges we don't really have are our clients staying with us. We have a very long track record, sometimes 7, 8, 9, 10 years, as long as we've been around, because our mission is never lost. We write books, we do podcasts like this, we teach, we show up and give to the world because we want to save people from wasting money and making bad decisions that happen so often. You have an origin story too. You have something that happened to you in your life that made you excited about selling or doing what you are doing, I hope. You don't, probably consider getting into a different business. But if you start there, and it's therefore, I believe this, I want the world to know this, I want to save the world or make the world better because of this, your message is like easy to write. That is a home run for ad guys like me and copywriters, and you can't hardly write a bad ad because it's about the customer and their world.
Yeah.
And then the media selection kind of becomes irrelevant, but you're just going on a mission to say, where are the most amount of people that I could win over in time? And you're going to measure that by the ratings and the thousands of people you reach.
Yeah.
I just oversimplified something, but hopefully you have a good media buyer or an honest person who's going to help you say, okay, this media is better only because it reaches more people or only because it's a little more aligned with your customer.
We'll talk about media buying in other episodes for sure.
This one's simple, and it relates to the last one, talking about yourself instead of your customer. Guess what? Unless you're selling hamburgers or giving away free Lamborghinis, ain't nobody want to hear about you, right? Or giving away something. Like it's not about you and the product. It's not about how many years you've been in business. It's not about how easy you are to find. It's not about your new website. It's not about find us on Facebook. It's about you as the customer. Don't you wish this was a little better? Are you tired of this? Wouldn't it be nice if this is the world you woke up to? You're starting with them, using the word you. We make it a game to see if we can completely eliminate our customer's name or reference to themselves in our ads and just let them become so famous that people already know who they are.
Yeah.
And so just talk about your customer and their life. The more you do that, the better you're going to be. In our book on page 45, there is a chapter called What You're Really Selling. And it doesn't matter what you're selling, you can find a way to sell it more customer centric. And if you would like a free copy of that book, Caleb has a plan for you. You can send us a question to Maven Monday at frankandmaven.com. We would love to answer it right here on the podcast. And we're taking real life questions. These are actual business owners with actual problems, actual questions about how to eliminate waste in their advertising. Yes. And that is what we are all about. So what's the next question? The next question is from another Randy. Randy. We got 2 books out to Randy's today. You can't fake that. So Randy is in what we would call like a luxury high-end retail type of business. He's been doing his thing for a long time, well-established business. He's got marketing and advertisement that has been happening for decades, right? We're talking he's done so many of these other things well. Yes. Yeah. So he asks, how do I make my ads stand out from my competition? Yeah, and his category happens to have a lot of competition and national competition. Yeah. And so if that is you, and you're going, how do I compete against people maybe even with bigger budgets or been around longer than me, or I just want to be the guy that has his ads remembered, or gal. I have a 3-part answer again. There's so much that could go into this. This could probably be an entire podcast on its own. Yeah. Quickly, I'm going to say it. Entertain, say less, and know what's going on in your customer's life. Entertain, say less, know what's going on in your customer's life. Let's break into those. So entertainment, this comes in so many forms. I'm going to list some of the big ones that are like easy go-tos. Telling stories, are way more interesting than facts, right? We all know that. Stories are way more interesting than facts. So if you can tell a fictitious story about the customer's journey, if you can tell a story about something where you actually made a difference, and it's got to be a good story, like story that would be campfire worthy, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you about this person, okay? And you're talking about pains or situations or like outcomes that you helped them get to, but tell it in a climactic way. So, you know, Jan had this problem. She tried this. Man, she was so frustrated. And then finally we were able to meet her and we figured out this one magic thing that helped her get exactly what she wanted.
Yep.
So telling stories. If you don't have stories, some products don't have stories. It's like I went to the grocery store and I bought a watermelon. Like there's a story, right?
Yeah.
It's not like that. But sometimes when you don't have this like compelling or complex product, just using things that are universally appealing, like rhythm and music.
I think of insurance
and
for
meter.
This
it's
kind
perfect example.
It's boring.
Example.
Nobody wants it. You have to have it.
Least gratifying purchase ever.
Yeah, but
best ads.
Those ads, they're spending big dollars, and what are they doing? They're just entertaining over and over again.
Over and over and over again. You got even multiple campaigns and multiple pillars of entertainment. Progressive. You got flow. You got the guy who's trying to help you from becoming your parents.
Yes.
And they're just trying to make you laugh because they know that if they make you laugh, that is firing little pumps in your brain that release oxytocin. And when that's present and then you put a name next to that, they associate you with good feelings.
Yeah.
And so the next time that person has a oh crap moment, I got canceled by my insurance or my rates went up or I need insurance because my got a jet ski or something like that, they're on the list.
Yeah.
And this whole name top of mind awareness is a thing, but it's not your name you're trying to get people to recall. You're trying to get them to recall the feelings, the good feelings around you.
Which we would call branding.
Most people would call that branding. Also, most people misuse the word branding.
Yeah, they think logos and colors. It's not logos and colors
Right.
of the Progressive logo. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. It could be polka dot pink.
Yep.
Nobody would care.
Wouldn't change a thing.
So rhythm, music, I put on here humor, inflection, consistency in the way you land your ads. We have a client, his product is universally like appealing. He sells really nice barbecue grills, big green eggs, and all kinds of fun, cool stuff. And even though their product is interesting, we still do a lot of intention with the way we have them read their ads. So his location, because it's a big deal where he is, it's kind of hard to find. So he stretches that. He says, just off South Campbell on Tracker Road every time. And for hundreds and hundreds of ads and lots of years now, we've done it that way. And it's kind of like his mark. And all he had to do was just say it a little different. And every time we do it that way.
Yeah.
And so you have little kids running around going, just off South Campbell on Tracker Road. And then when they meet him, they're like, say the thing, you know, he's like the party trick, right?
Yeah.
So inflection, just doing something a little bit weird.
Yeah.
A little bit
it shocks the mind a little bit. It takes you out of right. You're listening. You're sitting in the car listening to the radio. You're honestly at a commercial break on TV. Everybody, they're not watching the commercials. They're flipping on their phone, right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter where you are on Facebook. You have to intrude on what they were expecting to ignore.
You just said the number one thing, which is unpredictability. Like when you're predictable, you're ignored.
Yeah.
Even if they might be interested in your product, your ad's ignored. So the whole big folder this sits into is entertainment, but the key to entertainment is being unpredictable. When you can see something coming next, when you can see the punchline coming next, when you know that here's a dude standing in front of his truck and he's going to tell you about his company and how many years he's been in business, and then he's going to say, so when you need blankety blanks, remember me. 3
convenient locations and we're always here.
And everybody's like, I know, I can see to the end of this. This is a guy and there's his company truck and I don't need to listen anymore.
It's the same script as the other guy.
I ain't got time for that.
Yep.
So emotion. Another way to jolt the public in an unpredictable way is take a stand for something. Dadgummit, it ought not to be that way. Aren't you tired of this? You could do this on the realm of traditional values or untraditional values, or it's about time somebody said something, or there's been a lot of great social movements that happen this way. You could use a current event. You could use some sort of common interest like family values or sporting teams or lifestyle or whatever's going on. We have a client who says, I believe your time on the water is important. Takes a stand.
Yeah.
And so that informs why he has more mechanics on staff, so that when you have a problem with your boat that you bought from him, you're back on the water. I believe your time on the water is valuable. To stand, right?
Yeah.
And instantly, even though you might not be buying a boat, you're like, wow, that guy believes in what he's selling, right?
Yeah.
So use your own self as a filter and just be like, man, if I wasn't in the know about this product, would this get my attention?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's going to have their own opinions about creative. It's not necessarily about being creative. It's about being inspiring. And did it meet somebody where they are? Did we deliver that in an entertaining way? Did I make them feel good for one day when they're going to buy from me?
Yeah.
So entertainment. Holy smokes, that took a long time for that one. This one's easy. Say less. White space. Okay? That in and of itself.
See what you did there.
See what I did there?
Oh, I see it.
You had to ruin it.
No.
That in and of itself is for a really occupied and overstimulated public, stopping, putting a little bit more quiet to yourself, letting your words be fewer, but therefore louder. Not only if you're in a traditional format or even in social media land, you're the ad that stopped all the loud noise and the screaming at them to come in and buy something this Saturday, and you're the guy that just stops and levels with them. We have a campaign in Iowa, and then these two guys get on screen, and it's just the most dry, fast-paced, but in between pauses we put in between their lines, and they're famous. Like, people stop and watch them every time. So sometimes it's about letting a couple seconds on the end of the ad breathe instead of trying to cram 120 words in 30 seconds. It's letting them breathe. Yep. And with this, if you're going to be a successful advertiser, this will not be the first, second, or 100th time you're going to advertise. It's perpetual. So say one thing per ad. Say it powerfully.
Give me an example. How would I not say one thing?
So we recently consulted a company out of California, and they're in the real estate business, and they had an ad produced for them. And unfortunately, they had been sort of led to believe that this is the only ad they would ever need. They can run it for years and years. And it's a 30-second ad about why you should let them buy your home from you. And it shoved in all their features and benefits. And we'll buy this type of house. We'll buy this type of house. And if you have a high-rise condo, we'll buy that too. We buy water properties. We buy distressed properties. And it's like, sometimes the variety that you have is kind of an important pain to speak to, but way more often, there's going to be a certain type of buyer that needs more than the 3-second blip you talk to them. So pick their pain and say, hey, times are tough. Government regulations are getting tougher.
Yep.
Are you ready to cash out of your rental property?
Yeah.
And you lay out some math for them. You say, you're going to get 40% more than you ever would have gotten in the past. And I'm just totally making this up on the fly, but you're taking that one customer and saying, we'll make it easy for you. That's the rental owner, right? And you're saying, I'll make this easy for you. You're using language they understand versus maybe a retail person would understand. And you're leading them to a call to action that has everything to do with them. If you're ready to get rid of your rental property, not for all properties, consider me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when it's all things, it's nothing.
Yep.
But when you speak to one person, everybody hears it.
Yep.
It's called the eavesdropper effect.
Yeah.
And it forces you to talk like a human being. Because I would not go to you at lunch today after this podcast and try to tell you 800 things in 12 minutes, right?
Yeah.
We would have one, maybe two things we talked about.
Yep.
And do that. That's a human factor, but it also it knocks down the things in persuasion that need to happen, because 30 seconds isn't a long time, or 60 seconds isn't even a long time anyway. Make it about one thing, one principle.
So I'm just gonna recap that really quick, because I think it's really important. You're saying one thing and saying it powerfully. We're choosing who to lose is how we would say that, which is you have a specific customer. I'm picturing Brandon across the table from me, and I'm reading this ad. Does this speak to Brandon? And if it's not Brandon, right? If Brandon's not a real estate investor, I'm okay with losing Brandon in this case, right?
Yes.
I want to speak to just one type of customer. I have 5. We're talking about maybe that real estate investor. They've got
one glass at a time.
They've got people who have had lost grandma and they have to, sell grandma's house. They have people who have done all these they have real estate investors. They've got divorce. They've got all these different reasons that people would be selling their home. They just need to speak to one at a time.
One at a time. Next month, you can run a different ad.
Yeah.
Or run 2 ads at the same time, but make them both individually fill that customer's
too often we're worried
desires.
about wasting our money by
not saying all
the things to all the people, but we lose all relevance.
Oh, and throw in I have 87 locations, and throw in all this, throw in this, and yeah, say less.
Great.
With white space around it.
And point 3?
Point 3 is know what's going on in your customer's life. So we've been talking in this format because we're aware of who asked the question, more in traditional media. That won't always be the case.
Traditional media would be like print, billboard, radio, TV.
Yes, large, we would call that mass media, reaching a lot of people. But stop and ask, where's this media going to intercept your customer today? And so if that's like a transactional media like search engines, they probably want to hear more about the solution and how they get it faster or cheaper, or maybe with a little less hassle. And so you're going, okay, somebody's searching today. That means they probably want it today. But if you're in a mass media situation where it's 100,000 people in a TV audience and, very, very few people at 8 p.m. at night are considering, who they're going to call tomorrow to clean their teeth, talk to them about broader things. Be more entertaining. Make it more about your personality. Make it more about these stories and this humor. And by the way, in that moment, like when you're talking to all those people, don't disrupt your style from ad to ad. Either have a consistent hook, musical style, visual style, values that you talk about, the same kind of half a dozen things that you get around to.
Spokesperson, actor
definitely
style.
spokesperson.
Like if you have
format.
acting, you want to make it a similar style of editing, all of that.
Yeah, you want people to say, "Oh, you're that gal that sings in her ads." We have a guy, he just literally goes, drums acoustic guitar and sings his website URL. And he's a goober and he feels so dumb doing it, but we're like, you got to do it because that makes you human. And all the kids in the backseat of the car are singing that jingle with him. So, so know what's going on in their life. If it's not a transactional media, you probably need to be a little more entertaining. But also, when you're going to your yesterday customer and you're talking to your past customers, you can talk to them like they already know you. You don't have to say, at insert my business name, we stand for blah. They already know you, right? So don't try to bore them with those details. Jump right in and say, hey, has it been a while since you've updated your estate plan? Hey, I know it's been a while since we've seen each other. Check out what we got going on. Just have a few pieces of advice for you. Yeah. So keep them part of your tribe, add value, give them tips and tricks to continue getting value out of your relationship with them. Yeah. And so to understand, are they in today, tomorrow, or yesterday mode, and speak to them accordingly or entertain them accordingly. Yeah.
Well, if you would like a copy of Brandon's book, The Maven Marketer, it's an Amazon bestseller. You can get that, guess what, on Amazon. We'd encourage you to go pick up a copy. Everything we're talking about is in here. Everything.
Yep, start to finish. Stories, you'll be able to see yourself in these examples, whether you're doing $1 million or $100 million a year.
Yes. So we'd encourage you to grab a copy of that. And please send us your questions to Maven Monday at frankandmaven.com.
We'll be here every Monday taking your real-life questions on advertising because we believe marketers who can't teach you why are just a fancy lie. Have a great day.